After taking a look at various interesting growth facts, we want to set up a model to describe the growth. And the model I want to introduce to you is called the Solow model. So what's the story behind the Solow model? The story behind most of the macro model includes the following components. We have an economy with household and firms, and then we have market for different factors of inputs as well as the output. And then we describe the household behavior. We say the household can make, for example, 2 decisions. The household can decide how much they want to consume and how much they want to save. And the household can also decide how many leisure they want to have and how many hours they want to work. For firms, they choose the production technology and then decide how much is the quantities they want to put in as the factor of input for their production. At the end, we are going to have the markets, either for the factor of input or for output. And then for all the markets, they need to attain the equilibrium, which means that the total quantity supplied need to be equal the total quantity demanded. So that's the story behind a general macro model. But then because Solow model is a very simple version of the model, so we make further simplifications for setting up the Solow model. For the household, we simplify the scenario by assuming that the household is exogenously given a saving rate such that the total consumption C equal to a portion of the income they receive. The Y here can be the income, can also be the output, because when the economy produces goods, then it will be the output. Then the output will be sold, and then all the value of the goods that sold will distribute it to all the factor of input. Given that household is the agent in the economy, provides the factor of input, for example, capital and labor. Therefore, once the goods is produced, the firm owner needs to pay the household, for example, the wages or the return to the capital. So then the output value will then turn into the household income. So then in here we say the consumption is equal a portion of the income of the household, and the saving rate is S. We make another further simplification for the household. That is, the household do not have leisure choices. Here we assume, for example, that the individual sleep for 12 hours a day and they only have 12 hours for work and leisure. And given in here, we assume that there's no leisure choices, so we assume that all the household or all the individual in the household work for 12 hours each day. So then there will be no leisure choices. As long as we know how many individuals we have in the economy, then we know what is the total labor that is provided in this economy. We make simplification for firms as well. The simplification we make in here is that we assume the firm take whatever amount of the factory input available in the market and then put it into the production, which means that the firm don't need to solve, for example, the profit maximization problem and then choosing how much capital and labor they want to put into the production process such that they can maximize the profit. We don't do something like that in here. We just take whatever amount of the factory input available in the market as given and then just plug it into the production function. We also make simplification for the markets because the firms do not choose how much labor they want to use for their production, and the households have no leisure choices. Therefore, the factory input labor attain the equilibrium automatically. Same thing for the capital. The household are exogenously given a saving rate, so then the total saving will then becomes the investment and then turn into the capital stock available in the market. And then given that the firms take whatever amount of capital available in the market, Therefore, factory input capital also attain the equilibrium automatically. The second assumption we make about the market is that the goods market attain the equilibrium. So then we have an equation to characterize this equilibrium. We say whatever amount that is produced need to be either consumed or invested. So then the goods market attains the equilibrium. There's no waste. We further make some assumptions for the parameters. We are given the saving rate, we are given the population growth rate, we are given the technological growth rate, and then we are given the depreciation rate. And then we will be able to set up equation to describe the macroeconomy under the setting of the Solow model. Then this model preserves the following key features. It has the constant marginal product of the capital in the long run. It also has the constant capital to output ratio in the long run. Finally, with different assumptions for the saving rate, the population growth rate, the economy may result in different income level in the long run. However, if the assumptions for the parameters are the same, but the initial capital stock level are different, then it turns out that the economy will result in the same income level in the long run. And later we will show that. So that's the basic story for the Solow model. Now let's take a look at the setup for the Solow model. For the household problem, we say that the household consume a portion of their income. In here, the C is the consumption, the Y is the output, which is also the income, and then the S tilde is the saving rate, which in here is a parameter. For the firm, we assume that the firm adopt the Cobb-Douglas production technology. In here, the A is the production efficiency, the KT is the capital stock, the LT is the total labor input, the theta is the capital share, which is a parameter, and the 1 minus theta is the labor share, which is also a parameter. So then once we given the firm adopt this production technology, then we have the equation to characterize how does the capital stock evolve over time, which we assume it follows the law of motion. As what we learned before, we said the law of motion tells us the capital stock next period equal to the amount of the capital after depreciation from the previous period plus the investment. Therefore, in this equation, the delta means the depreciation rate, which is the parameter, and the IT is the investment made. So then finally, we claim that this economy will have the equilibrium, which is the total output need to be either consumed or invested. And then these four equations are the four equations characterize the macroeconomy under the assumption of the Solow model. So now we already have a brief idea about how does the Solow model look like. And what we are going to do next time is to go through the detail of this model to understand what are the model features. So this is the end for today's lecture.